Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Life doesn't just happen to us. It responds to the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we discipline ourselves in the quiet corners of our own minds. Your mind and emotions, they're the steering wheel of your life. If you let them run wild, you'll end up in places you never intended. But if you learn how to control them, you can take your life to places you've only dreamed of. Now, I want to share with you 10 powerful tips to control your mind and emotions. 10 disciplines, 10 reminders, 10 simple but powerful shifts that can change the quality of your days and the direction of your life. Tip number 1, guard the gate of your mind. What goes in, comes out. If you allow negativity, gossip, fear, and doubt to dominate what you feed your mind, don't be surprised if that's what dominates your emotions. But if you choose carefully, books that inspire, voices that lift you, conversations that stretch you, you'll discover your emotions begin to follow a higher path. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant, good or bad, will grow. The key is to guard the gate. Don't just let anything or anyone dump their garbage into your mental garden. Tip number 2, learn the pause. One of the most powerful tools you can ever master is the ability to pause before you respond. Most people react instantly. Anger flares, words fly, and regret soon follows. But the pause, just 2 or 3 seconds to breathe, to think, to choose, can save your marriage, protect your friendships, and preserve your peace of mind. When you master the pause, you take back control of your emotions. Tip number 3, feed your spirit daily. Your emotions will always be unstable if your spirit is starving. Prayer, meditation, reflection, journaling. These are not luxuries, they're necessities. Just like you feed your body, you must feed your soul. A strong spirit calms the storm inside. Tip number 4, choose your company wisely. Who you spend time with will either sharpen your mind or dull it, lift your emotions or drain them. Emotions are contagious. Attitudes are contagious. If you surround yourself with complainers, you'll catch the infection. If you spend time with visionaries, leaders, and encouragers, you'll rise to their level. Tip number 5, practice gratitude daily. You cannot be angry, fearful, or jealous while being grateful at the same time. Gratitude is the antidote to so many destructive emotions. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. It shifts your focus, and where your focus goes, your emotions follow. Tip number 6, control what you can, release what you can't. Most people exhaust their emotions fighting battles they can't win and worrying about circumstances they can't change. You must learn the discipline of focusing only on what's within your control. The rest, release it. You'll discover peace the moment you stop trying to manage the uncontrollable. Tip number 7, build strong daily routines. The mind loves structure. When you discipline yourself with habits, exercise, reading, planning, resting, you leave less room for emotional chaos. Weak routines invite weak emotions. Strong routines build strong character. Tip number 8, reframe your perspective. When problems come, and they always will, you can either see them as enemies or as teachers. The moment you change your perspective, your emotions shift. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what can this teach me? That little shift turns frustration into growth. Tip number 9, speak to yourself. Don't just listen to yourself. Left unchecked, your mind will whisper fears, doubts, and worries all day long. You have to interrupt the chatter. Stand tall, look in the mirror, and speak words of strength and confidence. Don't wait to feel it. Declare it. You're not just the listener of your thoughts, you're the author of them. Tip number 10, train your body, strengthen your mind. Your emotions don't just live in your head, they live in your body. Tension, stress, fatigue, these weigh down your thoughts. But when you move your body, when you exercise, breathe deeply, and treat your health as a priority, your emotions respond. A strong body supports a calm mind. So there you have it, 10 simple, practical, powerful tips. 10 disciplines you can carry with you starting today. Control your mind and emotions, and you control your future. Got it? Here are 5 strong keynotes from the speech, 10 powerful tips to control your mind and emotions. Guard the gate of your mind. What you feed your thoughts shapes your emotions. Learn the pause, respond with wisdom instead of reacting with regret. Practice gratitude daily. Gratitude transforms fear, anger, and doubt into peace. Choose your company wisely. Emotions and attitudes are contagious. Control what you can, release what you can't. Peace begins where unnecessary struggle ends. Guard the gate of your mind, because what you allow inside will shape every outcome of your life. Your mind is like a fertile field, and whatever seeds fall upon it will take root and grow, whether good or bad, fruitful or poisonous. If you plant seeds of doubt, worry, and fear, they will sprout into emotions of insecurity, anxiety, and despair. But if you choose carefully, if you plant seeds of knowledge, wisdom, encouragement, and faith, then your emotions will follow a healthier and stronger direction. You can't expect a harvest of joy if all you've planted is bitterness. You can't expect strength if all you've let in is weakness. The soil of your mind doesn't choose the seed, you do, and the harvest will always match the planting. Think of it this way. Every conversation you entertain, every book you read, every video you watch, every environment you step into, it's all a form of planting. The question is, are you planting weeds or are you planting fruit-bearing trees? Most people don't guard this gate. They leave it wide open, letting anything wander in. Negative news floods their mornings, gossip fills their afternoons, and complaints dominate their evenings. Then they wonder why they feel so restless, so discouraged, so weighed down. It's not a mystery. It's simply the law of input and output. What goes in must come out. If you let darkness in, darkness will show up in your emotions. If you let light in, light will shine through your responses. Guarding the gate of your mind is not about isolation. It's about discernment. You cannot shut out the whole world, but you can choose how much of it you absorb. You don't have to read every headline. You don't have to listen to every critic. You don't have to let every careless word take root inside of you. You can say, no thank you, that doesn't belong in my garden. And every time you say no to the wrong seed, you are saying yes to the harvest you truly want. Discipline is the difference between a neglected field and a flourishing one. The farmer doesn't let just anything grow. He uproots the weeds, he pulls out the thorns, and he waters what matters. The same is true for your mind. You must uproot the toxic thoughts, pull out the destructive voices, and water your soul with inspiration, truth, and wisdom. And make no mistake, your emotions are directly tied to this process. If your thoughts are healthy, your emotions will be steady. If your thoughts are polluted, your emotions will be unstable. A person who constantly listens to criticism will eventually feel small. A person who constantly entertains fear will eventually live in anxiety. But the person who feeds on encouragement, who studies principles of success, who fills their heart with gratitude and possibility, that person will walk with a different posture, a different spirit, a different energy. It's not magic, it's discipline. It's choosing every day what you will allow inside. This is why it's so important to be intentional about your mental diet. Just like your body cannot run on junk food, your mind cannot run on junk thoughts. Feed it quality. Feed it wisdom. Feed it words that build rather than break. Surround yourself with people who speak life instead of death, people who inspire instead of drain, people who see potential instead of limitation. And when you can't find those people, become that voice for yourself. Speak truth, speak faith, speak courage until your emotions begin to rise to that higher level. Guarding your mind is the beginning of guarding your future. The direction of your life is hidden in the conversations you allow, the influences you entertain, and the thoughts you repeat day after day. If you want to change your emotions, change your inputs. If you want to change your direction, change the seeds you're planting. What you allow to live in your mind will eventually live in your reality. Learn the pause, because in that small space between stimulus and response lies the power to shape the outcome of your life. Most people live on autopilot, reacting instantly to whatever comes their way. Someone criticizes them and words fly out without thought. Traffic slows them down and anger boils over before they even realize it. An unexpected challenge arrives and frustration takes control before clarity has a chance to speak. But if you could just pause, if you could master those few precious seconds of restraint, you would discover that the pause is not weakness, it's strength. It's the power to choose rather than be controlled. It's the ability to respond with wisdom rather than regret. The pause is where reason enters and emotion steps back. The pause is where you remember your values before your temper takes the lead. Think of how many relationships have been damaged, not because of deep issues, but because of words spoken in the heat of reaction. Think of how many opportunities have been lost, not because of lack of skill, but because of rash decisions made in a surge of impatience. The pause is the difference between keeping peace and starting a fire. It's the difference between leading with composure or being dragged around by emotion. When you pause, you slow down the chaos long enough to ask yourself the right questions. Is this worth it? What outcome do I really want? How can I respond in a way that preserves my dignity and keeps me moving forward? This discipline doesn't come naturally because emotions are fast, they are explosive, they demand to be expressed immediately. But wisdom moves slower. Wisdom takes a moment to breathe, to observe, to evaluate. That's why you must train yourself to insert the pause. Start with small things. When irritation rises in a conversation, pause and take a breath before speaking. When fear tries to overwhelm you the dozen what-ifs, pause and remind yourself of the facts. When anger tempts you to act on impulse, pause and let the fire cool before you decide. Each time you pause, you are strengthening your ability to rule over your emotions instead of being ruled by them. Think of the pause as a filter. Just as you wouldn't drink water filled with dirt and impurities, you shouldn't let unfiltered emotions pour out of your mouth or actions. The pause filters out the waste. It lets the emotions settle so clarity can rise. It gives you a chance to check if what you're about to say aligns with who you want to be. A few seconds of silence can save you hours of regret. A few breaths of patience can preserve years of trust. The pause might feel small in the moment, but its impact is enormous in the long run, and it's not only about stopping the negative, it's also about creating space for the positive. When you pause, you give yourself room to think of solutions instead of problems, to recall gratitude instead of complaint, to shift your focus from what's wrong to what can be right. The pause creates choice. Without it, life feels like a chain reaction. With it, life becomes intentional. Without it, you're a slave to moods. With it, you become the master of responses. Every leader, every achiever, every person who lives with inner strength has learned the art of pausing before they respond. The pause is one of the simplest disciplines, yet one of the hardest to practice because it requires self-control. But every time you do it, you gain more control over your mind and emotions. You become more thoughtful, more balanced, more intentional. In a world that rushes, that pushes you to react instantly, the pause is your shield, your strength, your secret advantage. Practice gratitude daily, because gratitude is the master key that unlocks emotional balance and mental clarity. It is nearly impossible to hold on to fear, anger, jealousy, or despair while focusing on genuine thankfulness. Gratitude shifts the lens through which you see your life. It takes the same set of circumstances and paints them in a brighter color. Two people can live the same day, face the same challenges, and encounter the same struggles, yet one feels crushed while the other feels blessed. The difference is not the day itself, it's the perspective, and gratitude is what shapes that perspective. When you discipline yourself to focus on what you do have instead of what you lack, on what's working instead of what's broken, your emotions naturally rise to a higher state. Gratitude is not about denying problems. It's about refusing to let problems dominate your vision. Every person has difficulties. Every person has setbacks. But the question is, where will your focus rest? If all you see are the cracks, you'll never notice the light shining through them. Gratitude teaches you to pause in the middle of chaos and ask, what can I still appreciate? What can I still learn? What blessings do I still carry? That simple shift doesn't change the circumstances immediately, but it changes you. And when you change, your approach to the circumstances changes too. Gratitude is not about waiting for everything to be perfect. It's about learning to celebrate even the imperfect moments because they carry lessons, growth, and hidden opportunities. The practice of gratitude must be intentional. It's not enough to casually think thankful thoughts once in a while. It must become a daily ritual, a habit that rewires the patterns of your mind. The best way to begin is with something simple. Write down 3 things every morning or every evening that you're grateful for. Don't just repeat the same vague phrases. Dig deeper. Notice the small things: the meal you enjoyed, the smile from a stranger, the health you still have, the lesson a mistake taught you, the opportunities you're still given. By writing them down, you anchor your focus, and little by little, your mind learns to search for gratitude automatically. What you train it to look for, it will find. Gratitude is powerful because it multiplies. The more you focus on what's good, the more good you notice. And the more you notice, the stronger your emotions become. A grateful person can find peace in the middle of uncertainty, while an ungrateful person will find misery even in abundance. Gratitude doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you act. A grateful heart speaks more kindly, listens more patiently, and leads more effectively. People are drawn to those who radiate thankfulness because gratitude produces a spirit of generosity and warmth. It's hard to complain when you're counting blessings, and it's hard to envy when you're too busy appreciating what you already have. Even in difficult times, gratitude has the ability to transform suffering into strength. Think of those who have gone through losses, failures, or disappointments, but still say, I'm thankful for the lesson. I'm thankful I had the chance. I'm thankful for the growth it produced. That attitude doesn't come naturally, it comes through discipline. It comes from practicing gratitude so consistently that even pain is reframed into purpose. And once you reach that level, your emotions will no longer be at the mercy of circumstances. They'll be guided by the steady anchor of appreciation. Gratitude is the great equalizer of emotions. It pulls down the weight of anger, it lifts the burden of worry, it quiets the noise of discontent, it brings balance to your mind and stability to your spirit. The person who practices gratitude daily walks lighter, smiles easier, and lives with a calmer strength because they've chosen to fix their attention not on what is missing, but on what is already present and valuable. Choose your company wisely, because the people you surround yourself with shape your thoughts, influence your emotions, and ultimately direct the course of your life. Human beings are contagious creatures. Attitudes, moods, and beliefs spread faster than you think. Spend enough time around complainers, and you'll start to complain without even realizing it. Spend enough time around dreamers and doers, and you'll find yourself stretching, reaching, and aiming higher. The company you keep is not neutral. It is either pulling you upward or dragging you downward. If you want control over your mind and emotions, you must control who gets access to them. Every conversation is a seed planted in the soil of your mind. Some people plant weeds, negativity, doubt, gossip, fear, and if you let those seeds grow, they choke your confidence and weaken your spirit. Other people plant fruit, bearing seeds, encouragement, vision, wisdom, and strength, and those seeds produce courage and hope. The key is to know the difference and choose wisely. Too many people tolerate toxic company because they fear being alone, not realizing that loneliness with peace is far better than togetherness with poison. If you want to elevate your emotions, you cannot afford to spend endless hours with people who constantly pull them down. Think about it. When you leave a conversation, do you feel lighter or heavier? Do you feel inspired or drained? Do you feel more focused or more confused? These are signals. Your emotions don't lie. They tell you whether the company you keep is lifting your spirit or poisoning your mindset. Choosing wisely doesn't mean you judge others harshly. It means you protect your own garden. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table because not everyone brings nourishment. Some bring distraction, some bring destruction, and some bring direction. Your responsibility is to know which is which and guard your space accordingly. Choosing your company wisely also means surrounding yourself with people who challenge you. Comfort can be dangerous because if you only surround yourself with those who agree with you, you'll never grow. The right people don't just comfort you when you're down, they push you when you're stagnant. They won't let you settle for mediocrity, they remind you of your potential, and they hold you accountable to it. Your emotions may resist that at first because growth is uncomfortable, but deep down, you know those voices are making you better. You need encouragers, but you also need truth tellers, people who love you enough to correct you, not just cheer for you, and there's another dimension to this. If you want great company, you must become great company. If you want to attract encouragers, be an encourager. If you want to be surrounded by people of vision, cultivate vision in yourself. If you want to be around disciplined minds, discipline your own. The kind of energy you give is often the kind of energy you receive. People are drawn to those who make them feel stronger, braver, more alive. If you practice bringing value, you will naturally find yourself in circles that lift you higher. Your company is one of the greatest influences on your emotional stability and mental clarity. You can read all the books, listen to all the speeches, practice all the routines, but if you continually allow toxic people into your inner circle, they will undo what you've built. The voices you hear most often will become the voices in your head. If you spend your days around negativity, it's only a matter of time before negativity becomes your default setting. If you spend your days around visionaries and encouragers, your emotions will begin to match their tone and your mind will begin to mirror their clarity. Control what you can, release what you can't, because one of the greatest drains on the human mind and emotions is the constant attempt to manage the unmanageable. So much of stress, anxiety, and frustration comes not from what happens, but from resisting what cannot be changed. People lose hours, days, and even years worrying about things completely outside their circle of influence. The weather, the economy, the opinions of others, the mistakes of the past, the uncertainty of tomorrow. These are burdens no one can fully control, yet many carry them as if they could. The result is exhaustion, not because life is impossible, but because energy is wasted where it cannot produce results. Real strength comes from the discipline of separating what belongs in your hands and what does not, and then releasing the rest. When you focus only on what you can control, you reclaim your power. You may not control the market, but you can control your skills. You may not control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. You may not control every outcome, but you can control your effort, your attitude, your preparation, and your habits. This is where peace of mind is built, not in trying to dominate the uncontrollable, but in mastering what is within reach. The mind grows steadier when it learns to shift energy from worry to action. The emotions grow calmer when they stop wrestling with impossibilities and start flowing with what is possible. Consider how many people lose sleep replaying conversations they cannot rewrite, stressing about events that haven't even happened, or clinging to outcomes they cannot guarantee. Every moment spent this way is a moment stolen from the present. The present is the only place where control exists. You can't change yesterday, you can't live tomorrow, you only have today, and today gives you choices. Today gives you the ability to decide your words, your mindset, your steps. When you anchor yourself in the present, when you direct energy toward what is truly yours to manage, you begin to feel lighter, clearer, more in command of your emotions. Releasing what you can't control doesn't mean giving up or being careless. It means being wise enough to recognize the limits of your reach. It means accepting that storms will come, people will disappoint, life will twist unexpectedly, and no amount of worry can stop it. The release is not surrender, it's freedom. It's the choice to stop carrying unnecessary weight so you can walk farther with what actually matters. Just as a climber can't reach the summit if he insists on carrying every rock he finds, you can't reach your potential if you refuse to let go of what isn't yours to carry. This principle is not only about external circumstances, but also internal struggles. You cannot always control the first thought that enters your mind, but you can control whether you feed it or dismiss it. You cannot always control the wave of emotion that rises suddenly, but you can control whether you let it drive your actions. By practicing release, you teach yourself not to panic when the first wave comes, but to choose how you will ride it. This is how emotional strength is built, not in stopping every feeling, but in refusing to be mastered by them. Imagine the difference it makes when you live this way. Instead of being a victim of every shifting circumstance, you become centered. Instead of reacting to every storm, you adjust your sails. Instead of spending your days fighting battles you cannot win, you pour your energy into victories that are possible. The discipline of controlling what you can and releasing what you can't creates an inner balance. Your emotions find rest because they are no longer stretched in every direction. Your mind grows sharper because it is no longer clouded by impossible burdens. You create space for peace, for clarity, for strength, because you are finally carrying only what is yours to carry.